right over it, clicking, clacking. The crystals grew heavy in his mouth, and when he unlatched the window, they sparkled in daylight. My sister's snow-battered hair fell off the bed, and he bent down and wound it around his wrist to drag himself closer to us. She said, "This wouldn't have happened to anyone else." "Don't talk like that," I said, but as always, she was right. "You're lucky," the doctors told her mother. "Most Craniopagus siblings come out stillborn." The doctors told her mother they could separate us. My sister would die, of course. She's smaller. The parasitic twin grows stunted in the womb because I'm greedy. But her mother could only shake her head and speak like a gas. No. No. I feel sorry for her mother. Only 22 years old when she birthed her mutant. I can see her in the hospital bed cradling her new child, that 8-limbed with a swelling head. She's a mousy fern of a girl with a deadbeat dad and a religious mother with what looks like God's strident vengeance spilled into her lap, and all she can think is, "I only bought clothes for one baby." She took us home, unsplit, and fed us and clothed us. Even when her mother, poison alchemist, tried to put arsenic in her pudding, rat poison in our milk formula, killing us would have been her special delight. I imagine she wanted to dip us into formaldehyde and nail us to a piece of wood, or to take revenge on her daughter for not dying in her womb after she drank wormwood, ingested parsley and rotten berries and vitamin C, after she screamed out like performing an exorcism after throwing herself down the stairs. Yet our mother lived, and we lived. Me and my pale, rasping sister, we lived. And we grew. When we were 6 years old, we played marbles in the woods out behind the house. The two of us played out in the dirt, and our eyes toward the trees, beaded sweat dripping from my cheek to hers. Another neighborhood child, little Thomas, stumbled into our clearing and screamed when he saw us. He started running in circles because he couldn't find the way out. He tripped over our marbles and fell. My sister laughed. "Don't do that," I said. But she couldn't help herself. She laughed, and this only caused Thomas to scratch harder at the dirt, to press his hands into his cherub curls and tear out patches. My sister grabbed his ankle. He screamed louder. I slapped her hand. He scrambled to his feet and ran off into the trees. "You shouldn't have done that," I said. And though I couldn't look at her face with our heads fused together, I felt the muscles in my head tense as she smiled. "It's fun," she said, "to be a monster." As the ghost crept closer to the bed, my sister wouldn't let me sleep. She tugged at my hair at the nape of my neck. She scratched my skin. I grabbed at her stomach. I slapped the side of her face. "Stop it," I said. "Stop. It's not a ghost. It's an incubus." "How do you know?" I asked, my head pressed to the sheets. In the periphery of my vision, the ghost, incubus, stared at the wall with a blankless stare. His mouth heaved. Underneath his skin, his organs glowed, a faint blue glow. "I read about it." She kicked the sheets off. I turned and tossed in bed, my legs catching chill. When I brushed up against my sister, she's burning, her skin cooking on the surface, skinny little legs flushed red. She panted with her teeth twisting in her mouth. The incubus could almost reach over and brush her toes with his fingers now, bend over, and snap them off. "Go away," I whispered. I shivered as the cool air blew through the window. I shivered, but my sister's hot. Our teachers told us we could be anyone we wanted. Doctor, scientist, stripper. I was always the studious type, but my sister preferred to roll in the grass, blow bubbles into a child's mouth. I imagined trying to perform open heart surgery with my head twisted to the ceiling and a lopsided blue mask slipping off my nose. I saw my sister welded to me, pregnant and laughing and shaking my surgeon's knife. In my dream, she released butterflies in the operating room, wove a spider's nest into my hair. No, I couldn't be a doctor. We couldn't be doctors. We read the books about people like us. We visited the websites. Chang and Ing Bunker, the conjoined twins from Thailand that performed in P.T. Barnum's circus. Millie and Christine McCoy are the two-headed nightingale. Conjoined slave children taught to sing and dance for money, stolen away in the night like a toy. Daisy and Violet Hilton performed in movies like Freaks and Chained for Life, died alone in their apartment, passing blood from one to the other. They may chain us to the floor or give us a violin or open our mouths and climb inside, but it doesn't change anything. We can never be anything but Craniopagus, conjoined siblings, conjoined sisters, Siamese twins. I know this because once my sister fell in love, some deadhead marijuana-mouthed boy who thought he had a savior complex until he met us. He climbed over a fence from a nearby party, drunk and laughing to himself. We were outside on the porch alone, drinking our virgin margaritas that our mother made for us. I know you, he said. You're the twins everyone talks about. He crawled across the grass toward us. You're the pretty one, he said to my sister. Of course you would think that of my parasite. She was the glass-skinned Ophelia sprung from my head. The girl with the kind of stunted limbs usually only seen in dead anorexics and jellyfish in the bottom of the sea. You don't know what pretty is, I said. Can I have a drink, he asked, ignoring me. It's virgin, he said, and for some reason this made both of them laugh. Someone called for the boy over the fence. He scrambled up, knocking the glass out of my sister's hand, and ran. After that night, he sent my sister little lace and sugar messages hidden in the trees out in the forest. He tied pecans and tiny teddy bears to balloons that floated through a window. You look so happy, her mother said to her. She thinks she's in love. My sister touched the lace heart that he'd wedged underneath the door. She stroked her snow-powder hair. Let her think that then. Our mother said, Fine, I won't ruin her fantasy. Why talk to your sister like that? And my mother strained over the kitchen sink, trying to rub the leper spots off her hand. I thought, because maybe I wanted to be a doctor, because maybe I wanted to go to sleep for once knowing that my dreams belonged only to me. She doesn't get to fall in love, I said. I went back to bed, holding my parasite. One morning, a matted, lean stray cat dropped down the hallway window and came screeching down our bedroom. We jumped out of bed. My sister caught the cat in between her knees. Around its neck, we found a string with a letter attached. Party at my house. Wednesday night. Dressed pretty. We demanded a dress. Silver, peach ribbons, a pearl necklace, something that could be zipped up in the back. We had to shop in the child section with the children and their mothers staring at us, wounded for life. When she picked out her dress, we stood together in front of the triple-way mirror. 3 monsters, 3 lady trolls, grimacing and mad. She tugged at the ends of her hair. She smoothed out the dress. I could almost what? Feel like I was real. A real girl. Pretend like I wasn't here, you mean? That's not it. At the party I refused to drink, but became drunk anyways. Because the boys kept feeding my sister. They smoked her out and my head went sluggish and slow. The boys stroked her hair, told her that he loved her. We went into a back room with my brain tumbling. I ached to fall asleep. It'd been so long since I slept. My sister giggled as he led us onto the bed. Undress for me, she said. He'll break you, I said. You're just a little parasite. She slapped me. The boy panicked as he unbuckled his pants and he stepped out of them with skinny, breakable legs. That's when I noticed the ghost in the corner of the room. Another incubus, I thought. They're everywhere these days. Becoming immune to the exorcisms, probably. If only we hadn't exorcised those demons. If only our grandma hadn't rubbed the hemlock on my mother's belly, then maybe they wouldn't be here now. The incubus dragged himself close to the bed. He didn't have a crystal mouth or a glowing rotten seed for a belly. He had dirty fingernails and a baseball cap. The lover boy lowered himself onto my sister. He wound knots into her hair as they kissed. Hey, I said, all I could manage to say. They ignored me. Does anyone else see that? The boy, disguised as incubus, jumped onto me. He smashed his lips against my jaw. I thought we'd fall off the side of the bed with his tennis shoes digging into my pelvis and his hunched spine hitting the seaside portrait above our heads. My sister smashed a lamp over his head, spraying me and him with the glass. Incubus boy fell off me laughing. She picked up her torn party dress and we fled. We left behind pieces of silver, tattered pieces of her dress, glass. By the time we got to the porch, our legs were about to break. My sister tried to keep from crying, but I felt her tears drip onto my shoulder, so hot they nearly burned through my skin. We dragged ourselves up the stairs, our mother asleep. Do you know what an incubus does? My sister said, tugging on my hair. Please, I said, I just want to sleep. He steals your energy. Please, he fucks you while you sleep. We fell into bed and the incubus waited in his usual spot. She choked like she couldn't breathe. My heart pounded with a sudden rush of blood from me to her. In the dark, my fingers tiptoed over the waistline of her stomach. Him? I said he won't. We're more of a monster than he'll ever be. I opened my mouth and hissed. My sister tried to laugh. The incubus tapped his toes across the floor, clicking, clacking. In the morning, we lay on the couch, shell-shocked and half-dressed, one sock for 4 feet, sweaters with split buttons. Our mother sat cross-legged on the carpet with a book of demonology in her lap, a thick, black leather-bound two-wheel book. She was seeing curses everywhere again, little runic prints on our arms and faces. Maybe she even saw the brain of the incubus, like a dark crystal hovering over us. If only we'd been born real twins without this piece of skull in between us, maybe then he wouldn't have come. Maybe Lover Boy wouldn't have brought his friend into the room to rape me while he made love to my pale ectoplasm of a sister. I could have been a doctor. I'm sorry, girls, her mother said, because she could see the scratches on my face, the glass sprayed against me, because she found the tattered remains of my sister's dress stuffed into the trash can. Don't be, I said. It's not like we weren't expecting it. Our mother hummed underneath her breath some ritual incantation. Don't worry, it won't happen again. In that moment, I could see every place she'd ever been hurt. I saw the broken stem cells in her belly, the way me and my sister sought each other out in the darkness of her. I saw the scars that tattooed her back, where her father struck her with belt straps, the place where the dog bit her as a child, and she screamed, but no one came. It won't happen again, I said. In the night, the incubus unlatched the window. He crawled onto the bed. He opened his mouth, and the crystals bulged heavy on his tongue, giggled fiercer than I ever remembered before. He heaved, and I shivered. My sister melted down to the seats. She couldn't breathe, and I couldn't move. My lungs welded themselves in my chest. I couldn't scream. I couldn't whisper. Help. Help me. The incubus lowered himself onto my sister, puffs of shadows for arms. He ripped my sister's dress apart with his studded tongue. The shredded skin on the roof of his mouth spilled out onto her bare stomach like pill ribbons. I'm so sorry, my sister. I'm so sorry. I wanted to give you love, but I can't even turn my head. You can let butterflies into my operating room. You can fall in love. Just don't let us disappear. Through the darkness, my sister reached out and held my hand. The spell broke. She grabbed the incubus by the throat and pulled him closer. Come here, she whispered. Come here. We fell backwards, hit our heads on the baseboards, kept falling, spinning until we were nauseous, his breath distorting space, our heads. A little something inside of me stirred. I touched the cool place in the back of the incubus' head. I touched his shadows for arms. Come here. We wrapped our legs around him. Our bare legs touched on his back, hot and cold. We rolled him onto his bed, pressed him down. We tossed our hair back. He squirmed beneath us. The crystals grew and grew until his tongue throbbed. We grabbed his arms and wrestled him to the floor. The three of us, a worn pile of bodies, our limbs indistinguishable. I told you we were monsters, I said to the incubus. I don't feel cold anymore. My sister reached inside his mouth and grabbed his tongue studded with crystals. He started choking. She reached in with her other hand, pulled. He collapsed. My sister opened her hands, and his crystal tongue thudded to the floor. Grasping without his The incubus rasped without his crystal tongue. The heaviness in my chest left me. I could breathe again. Maybe our mother would find us in the morning on the floor, melted into the heads of the demon, 3 instead of 2, or she'd find us worn down to the bone, with a light burning a hole through it in. Either way, we'd be laughing. I don't know where I ended when she began. I touched her hips and wondered why I got numb. My head ached in the back, my skull trying to reach around and escape. I don't know if we'll stay together forever like this, torn, fused, collie monster, or if we'll tear each other apart.
Woo!
Fuck yeah.
Holy fuck.
That was really great. So that was the Fungasm half hour. Thank y'all. Get ready for whatever crazy shit is going to happen next.
Woo!